Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Grog Funky here, with a new video for you. Welcome to part 15 of What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so, we begin. After the internships ended, the UA students returned to face their finals. While the tests were hard and long, nothing much changed from canon. The only changes is that Kaminari managed to win his practical, so he was not placed in the remedial group. His partner Ashido, however, did not do enough to impress, so she did end up in the remedial group. While the young heroes focused on passing their finals, something strange was going on in the lair of All For One. The dark wizard Zeref entered the warehouse that All For One called home. Usually, the large man would be seated in front of his computer monitor. He would be watching the news or the camera feed from the bar base of Tomura Shigaraki. But today, the dark-suited man was nowhere to be found. The room was empty except for the monitor that read audio only. All For One? Zeref, it is good to see you, my ally. An ally, am I? Apparently being an ally does not entitle me to know your plans. Forgive me. I felt that moving my location was important at this point. Soon, my plans will reach a critical stage. This was just a necessary end to that. I see. Would you mind telling me what that goal is? I might be able to expedite it. I am sure you could, but I must do this with my people only. If we are discovered, I do not want you pulled into this. That is very considerate of you. Zeref thought for a moment before he replied to the Dark Lord. Very well. I will see after my own plans. I wish you good luck. The screen turned off. Zeref turned and walked out of the dimly lit room. When he emerged onto the street, he paused for a moment. The man had an uncharacteristic look of worry on his face. The man spoke in a worried tone. That was All For One's voice on the speakers. However, the pattern of his speech did not match. I fear something is amiss here. Zeref would not speak these words, but he sensed that something foul happened in that warehouse. Zeref was an old soul. He had spent thousands of years cursed with a power that brought death to all living things near him. Since coming to this world, he had been cleansed of that curse, but its effects on his soul had remained. The short man could sense the presence of death better than most wizards, probably from being a bringer of it for so long. He was sure that someone had died in that warehouse. Zeref figured he better call forth his allies. He had a bad feeling that his greater fear had come to pass. The 1A students decided to celebrate their surviving finals by going on a class shopping trip. The outing had two purposes. Firstly, it would allow the group to spend time together outside of class. Second, the trip was to gather the supplies they were going to need for their summer training camp. Urza had told the young heroes about the training camp before finals. He only informed the class that the teachers planned to include every student after the completion of the tests. The red-haired woman had said that this was a logical deception to get the students to perform their best. This explanation had upset a certain bespectacled teen, while the others were just glad that everyone was going to the camp together. On the day of the shopping trip, the members of Class 1A met at the mall. They were recognized by many of the other shoppers from the sports festival. The UA students had been through so much since that, they were surprised that people still remembered it. The students then started to talk about what items they needed for the training camp. Kirishima announced a plan. Hey guys, since we all are going to need different things, how about we split up and meet back here at 3? The others responded that this was a good idea, so everyone went on their way. This left Izuku and Wendy by themselves. I thought this was supposed to be a class shopping trip. So did I, but it looks like we're alone now. Wendy was a little embarrassed. She had not been alone with Izuku since she had revealed her feelings back in the hospital. But now, here they were. The two of them were by themselves, in a mall, on a nice afternoon. Just like two ordinary young people on a date. The thought of the word date suddenly made Wendy's face break out in a red glow. This was one of the reasons she had not been alone with Izuku since the hospital. She did not know where they stood. The two had not really discussed it at all. Wendy, are you okay? The sound of the brunette's voice broke her out of her mental freakout. I'm fine, Izuku. Okay, it's just that your face got all red all of a sudden. I was worried that maybe you were too hot. No, I just got a little lost in my head. Izuku reached over and wrapped his fingers gently around Wendy's hand. This made the small girl's face even redder. Okay then. Well, I have several things I need to pick up for the training camp. How about the two of us stick together? Part of Wendy's mind was freaking out, while the other part was giddy with delight. After what seemed like the longest minute in history, Wendy regained her voice and spoke in a happy, unsure tone. I really like that, Izuku. Awesome! Izuku led Wendy off into the mall with her hands still in his. Izuku was really enjoying himself. He decided to just have fun for today. The green-haired boy knew that there would be a little time for fun in the coming days. The two teens were so engrossed that they did not notice that they were being followed. The two had stopped to get something to drink when they noticed a familiar scent. The smell reeked of rust and decay. Both teens had only smelled this scent one time before. Izuku walked over and put his arm around Wendy. The weary youth spoke into the small girl's ear in a voice so low as to be inaudible. However, to the ears of a dragon slayer, his words were as clear as day. "You smell that?" Wendy replied in the same low tone. "I do. It can only belong to Shigaraki from the USJ attack. What do you think he wants?" "No way of knowing." "What should we do? This is not the place to get into a fight. Too many people he can hurt. Plus, we don't have a hero license to let us use our powers. Best plan is to split up." "No, that guy is dangerous." "I know. Look, he's probably after me. Once we split up, you go get mall security." Both teens agreed, even though Wendy did not like the idea of leaving the guy she liked alone with Tomura Shigaraki, but Izuku was tough. He would be able to handle Shigaraki for a bit while she got help. Wendy separated from Izuku. The small girl smiled at the fire user and spoke in a happy tone. "I have some personal things that I need to see about Izuku. I'll be back shortly." "Okay, hurry back." This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that you have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or even edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of free classes. Link is in the description below. Wendy walked off calmly, as if nothing was wrong. She did not want to alert Shigaraki that the two knew that he was there. Knowing how unstable the man was, he would probably start decaying people left and right. That is not something that the two could allow to happen. As Wendy walked away, Izuku walked over to a less crowded area of the mall. Midoriya could tell from the scent that Shigaraki was following him, and not Wendy. This is one time Izuku's wishes had come true. He had only met the villain once, but the thought of the palm-faced villain still disturbed him. The area the Dragon Slayer walked into was a rest area of some kind. Not the greatest place to confront the Decay user, but it would have to do. At least there were no people in the area. Midoriya turned around, and there stood Shigaraki. The skin on the man's face looked even more haggard than the green teen remembered. He also looked like he had lost weight, something the scrawny villain could not afford to do.
"Well, if it isn't Izuku Midoriya, you're the guy who threw down with the lightning user in the sports festival finales. I'm a big fan."
Midoriya was not pleased by the villain's innocent act.
"Knock off the act, Shigaraki. What do you want?"
"You just had to ruin my fun, didn't you, Midoriya? I forgot that you have a nose that would put a dog to shame."
"Thank you for the compliment. However, I know you did not come here to tell me how great I am. Now, what brings you here?"
Shigaraki told Midoriya about how everyone was talking about the hero killer after his Nomu had attacked the Hosu city. It infuriated the pale man that everyone was obsessed with Stain. Midoriya just listened as the red-eyed villain ranted. The intelligent teen figured that the longer the Decay user talked, the more time Wendy had to get security there. 10 minutes later, Wendy had informed mall security of the situation. They had called the cops and local heroes to take care of the problem.
"Well, what do you think, Midoriya?"
"I think that you're trapped, Shigaraki."
This man looked around and saw that he was indeed trapped. The police and heroes had cleared out the area while Shigaraki complained. The white-haired man had been so consumed with his pity party that he didn't even notice.
"You're a slick one, Midoriya, but I'll not be captured that easily. One thing I did learn from the USJ was that I always needed an escape route planned."
As Shigaraki uttered his last words, a warp gate opened behind him. Without missing a beat, the scrawny man leapt through the portal and escaped. The cops escorted Midoriya to the nearest station to question him about the incident. The fire teen told the police everything that had happened. Even as the boy recounted the events of the day, he could not make any sense of them. The police thanked Midoriya for the information. They told the worried boy that his testimony would help their investigation of the League of Villains. An officer then escorted Midoriya out of the station. As Midoriya exited the station, he heard several female voices calling for him. The boy turned around and saw that his mother, Lucy Heartfilia, and Wendy had been waiting for him to come out. Inko was the first to speak.
"Are you alright, Izuku? I've been so worried." "Mom, what are you doing here?"
Wendy was the one to answer the question.
"I called her, Izuku. I knew someone needed to tell your mother what happened and that you were okay. I thought the news would be better coming from a friendly voice. And it was clear. Thank you so much for telling me." "No problem, Mrs. Midoriya. Yes, thank you, Wendy. I did not know how I was going to tell my mom about all this without worrying her. That would be impossible, Izuku. I'm your mother. I'll always worry about you, but seeing that you had such good friends like Wendy and Kaminari to watch your back does take a huge weight off my shoulders. Yeah, I do have some amazing friends.
Midoriya was touched by his mother's words. The green-eyed youth had to use all of his emotional might to keep from crying. To distract himself, he turned to the last member of the group, Lucy Heartfilia.
I didn't mean to ignore you, Master. Why'd you come down here? No need to apologize, Izuku.
The tall blonde woman then leaned into Izuku's ear and spoke softly.
Wendy was very concerned about your encounter. She called me to vent, so I came down to make sure she was okay.
Even while speaking so quietly, Wendy overheard Lucy's comments. This made the tiny dragon slayer turn bright red. In her state of embarrassment, the girl blurted out,
Don't talk like that, Master. You'll give him the wrong idea. This is so embarrassing.
Inko broke in at that point.
Hey, Lucy, why don't you help me find a cab so I can take Izuku home? That is a good idea, Mrs. Midoriya.
With that, the two women walked toward the street, leaving the two teens alone. Izuku walked over to Wendy and took her hands in his.
It's okay, Wendy. I already know how you feel. You told me at the hospital, remember? That is true, but I didn't know what that meant for us now. I didn't really tell you how I felt, did I? No, you didn't. I had no idea if I should ask you out or if I should just wait for you to tell me. From now on, if you want to know something, just ask. And for the record, I feel the same as you do. In fact, I don't think I should be where I am right now without you. Of course you would. You're smart, a stronger fighter, and your power control is the best in the class. Sometimes I think that I am actually holding you back. Now who's being ridiculous? You've been there in every crisis we've ever had. You've healed me and others, both physically and emotionally. We're lucky to have you with us.
Wendy started to sob.
Thank you, Izuku. Thank you so much.
Izuku wrapped his arms around Wendy's shoulders and started to lead her back toward the street.
Now, let's go find my mom. She'll want to hear about what you told me at the hospital.
Wendy's face turned red again.
I can't believe I said that out loud. It's no big deal.
Meanwhile, Shigaraki was back at the hidden bar talking to All For One.
Master, I've been underestimating the heroes. I'm going to need to recruit stronger players for my game.
It is good to hear you talk like this, Tomura. How do you plan to proceed?
I plan to use Stain's current fame. We've already been approached by many new recruits since the man's arrest. I will use these new recruits to build a more elite team to combat the heroes. My strategy at the USJ was too narrow. I have to go bigger.
Excellent, Tomura. You begin to understand. Here is a reward to celebrate your new understanding. Kurogiri, if you would, please. The mist villain used his power and opened a warp gate about a foot off the ground. A briefcase appeared on the floor of the bar. Tomura opened the case. Inside were 5 glass spheres with a strange black energy inside them.
What are these, Master?
Something to give your new troops a boost in power. Think you'll like the effects. As his master spoke, a twisted smile crept along Tomura's face. The skinny man could not wait to begin his new game. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that we the Celestials have many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.